Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to part 4 of our continued look at the great career of Teemu Selanne. In part 1, we covered his beginnings in Finland and his amazing record-breaking rookie season with the Winnipeg Jets. In part 2, we covered his last days in Winnipeg, and in part 3, we covered his arrival in Anaheim. Now, we're coming off his first full season with the Ducks, where he had an incredible year. 51 goals, 58 assists for 109 points. He finished second in both goal scoring and point scoring, top 10 in several others as well. Selanne, much like he did in Winnipeg, however, has ingrained himself into the community. Young hockey fans love him. He takes time for the charities, both within and outside the organization. And the fans of the Ducks, well, again, he's on the level of adoration of teammate Paul Kariya. The two have amazing chemistry together, and it was on full display on their first season. But the Ducks were undergoing major changes. Head coach Ron Wilson took a job with the Washington Capitals, so the Ducks hire Pierre Pagé, a coach who cannot maintain control for very long, it seems, and has never won a playoff series in the 7 seasons he's coached the NHL. And the oddsmakers do have the Ducks looking like a playoff team going into this season. But Paul Kariya is hurt again, and Selanne will have to work extra harder as there's no timetable for an exact return. So things are looking bleak early on for the Ducks, but well, let's see what our hero can do. The Ducks opened the season with 2 games in Japan. A Yogi Arena for the first time an NHL regular season game has been played overseas, and they were against newly acquired Mark Messier and the Vancouver Canucks. The first game in Vancouver, our hero was pointless in a 3-2 loss, but then during the next game, he was in on all 3 goals in a 3-2 win, 1 goal, 2 assists, named first star of the game. After 6 days rest, the Ducks finally arrived home at the Pond in Anaheim to begin a 5-game homestand. First, it was against a highly improved Senators club, and the Ducks settled for a 1-1 tie, Selanne assisting on the lone goal. Then, after being shut out by a highly improved Bruins club, and then going pointless in a tie at the defending East champions Philadelphia, he then assisted on Mironov's game winner with 1:04 to go in a 2-1 win over Doug Weight, Ray Whitney, and the Edmonton Oilers. But then he went pointless and played pretty poorly against Palffy and the Islanders, losing 5-2. Not a great homestand at all for the Ducks, 1-2-2, just 2 points. Selanne did, however, roar back in a playoff rematch against Tkachuk, Roenick, Teppo, Bulin, and the Coyotes. Selanne scored a goal and added an assist in a 4-3 win. The latter was on Sean Pronger's game winner. He was named 3rd star, and he scored the opening and lone goal in a loss to defending Stanley Cup champions Detroit back at home. Another playoff rematch. The Ducks then started a 5-game road trip, first hitting the Northeast and making a splash on the island, this time beating the Isles 4-2. Selanne proved to be the game-winning goal. But then on October 26, 1997, they traveled to the Big Apple in infamous Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Rangers. The Rangers are coming off a season where they made it all the way to the conference finals, led by Wayne Gretzky, Alexei Kovalev, Norris Trophy winner Brian Leach, and goalie Mike Richter. They had lost Messier, as I kind of mentioned earlier, but acquired Pat LaFontaine. I swear that's the only time in this video I'll do it. But I'm off to a bit of a sluggish start. Well, it's game time, and both teams get a few chances early on, but can't make anything happen. It took till 13:41 of the first period when Ruchin gets the puck to Sacco, who sets up Selanne, his 5th goal of the year, and the Ducks strike first. Then the Rangers tied it to end the period, and the Ducks were getting nothing going. And they trail 3-1 in the third period, and the Ducks are trying to get back in it. 7:05 into the third, Dave Carpet sends in Teemu Selanne on goal, as Mike Richter wishes it was 1994 again as he scores. 2nd goal of the game, and the Ducks are still in this thing. And then just under 5 minutes later, Dulles sets up Selanne for a great goal. The Ducks have tied at 3-3, and that's how it would stay as Selanne's clutch play on display, garnering the point. Oh, look, it's a hat trick. And look, Selanne's the first star of the game, with an amazing performance once again. The Ducks are looking sharp so far on this road trip as Selanne leads the way, trying to work extra hard with Kariya gone. The Ducks, however, would have to settle for another tie. This time it was 2-2 with Matt Sandin and the Toronto Maple Leafs, but our hero scored the tying goal in the third. Then he was sensational with 2 goals and a 3-0 shutout win over coach Pat Burns, Ray Bourque, rookie Joe Thornton, and the Bruins. He was named first star of that game too. To start November, he took the fight to Detroit, scoring a goal and a helper in a 4-3 loss. But either way, they went 2-1-2 on this road trip. Selanne had 8 goals, added an assist for 9 points in 5 games, close to 2 a game. He was an excellent +6, and the Ducks overall sit at a decent 5-5-4. Our hero then led his team to a 3-game winning streak. First against Dino Ciccarelli in a very lifeless Lightning club, where our hero had 2 goals, named first star in a 5-2 win at home. Then it was a goal each against Fleury and the Flat Flames in a win, and another win over the Canucks, going toe-to-toe with McGillney on Hockey Night in Canada. Then it was back home to face the San Jose Sharks on November 10th, 1997. The Sharks still have very little bite, however, outside of Owen Nolan, but they obtained Mike Vernon as goaltender, who's fresh off a Stanley Cup win and being the Conn Smythe winner as playoff MVP. But it only took 40 seconds in. In an early rush, led by Daniel, he gets the puck to Matt Cullen, who sets up Teemu Selanne for the goal, and the Ducks get the fans going early and lead 1-0. The Sharks tied it on a power play, but then just 2:16 later, Park gets the puck to Pronger. He sees open Teemu, and number 8 scores the second goal of the game, his second goal, and the Ducks take the lead back 2-1. Cullen leads a play that allows Mironov to set up, I think you guessed it, Selanne, another hat trick, and the Ducks lead 3-1, and number 8, putting on a show. The highlight reels have what they need for the night, but the Ducks will ultimately collapse and lose 6-4. Despite this, however, Selanne is named first star of the game for his efforts, and you can see he is carrying a very heavy load with his team being, quite inconsistent. But check this out, an 11-game goal streak, 17 goals, and adding 2 assists for 19 points, a +9. He's on a remarkable pace this season. Wow, but his streak did come to an end with an overtime loss to the Habs, where he was pointless, but bounced right back, scoring 2 goals against the Canucks in a tie. Then he hit a bad 5-game slump that began with 3 straight losses to the Stars, Sharks, and Hawks, 2 of which were shutouts. But he played better in a 2-0 win over the Blues and was a +1. But then it was another shutout loss to Dallas. He did again bounce back to end the month and assist in a shutout win over the Devils, a goal and an assist in a win over Edmonton and named second star. He scored 2 goals in an overtime loss to the Flames in Calgary, including a beautiful solo effort, and was named second star of that one as well. Selanne completed the road trip, going pointless in the next 2 games, a tie in Toronto, a shutout loss to Hasek and the Sabres of Buffalo, but had a goal and a helper in a loss to Pittsburgh. Then went pointless at home against Pittsburgh in another shutout loss. The Ducks got some great news. Paul Kariya has been cleared. He's set to return for the Ducks home game on December 12th, 1997 against the Washington Capitals, led by Adam Oates, Peter Bondra, and Ole the goalie. As the Ducks so far have been 11, 15, and 6 without him. Not overly awful, but still not good. And with 8 and 9 back together, hopefully the Caps are ready. Oh no, but they were taken down. Reunited, and it feels so good. Selanne was named the game's 3rd star in a 6-4 win, 2 goals and an assist for 3 points, and a +4. Kariya was the 1st star with 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, quite the return, and also a +4. Mironov was 2nd star, and he had 5 assists. Wow. Perhaps things will finally turn around for this team this year. But Kariya's return wasn't yielding the instant results they hoped. The Ducks suffered 3 straight losses. Selanne was still playing well. He had an assist each in back-to-back 6-2 losses to the Leafs and Coyotes, and 2 goals and a loss to the Sharks, 4-2. It was clear the Ducks' problems are a bit deeper than maybe we think. However, he did score 2 goals in a win over Calgary 5-1 and named first star. Then it was a 6-game road trip. He had a goal in a 5-5 tie with Chris Pronger, Al McInnes, and a strong-looking St. Louis Blues club. Pointless in a 2-0 shutout loss to Chicago. We now head to Carolina, and it is against the Hurricanes, formerly the Hartford Whalers. Ducks lost over 2-1. Selanne gets the lone goal. Then he had an assist in a 3-2 loss to the Caps on New Year's Day. An assist in a 4-1 win over terrible Tampa, and he did show his clutch heroics against, Ray Whitney now on a new team, plus the Beezer in net, and a disappointing Panthers team, scoring a goal with 40 seconds left. To preserve a 3-3 tie with Florida, he still has his clutch heroics going. 1-3-2 on this road trip, not good at all. Selanne did have 5 points. And he struggled in the next 5 games with just 2 assists and a -1 goal, and a team going 1-4-0. However, in the win, he assisted on Joe Sacco's overtime winner against the powerful Stars team. Kariya's return has not really made a big difference, even though he too is playing pretty good. But now it's time to be concerned. But at least Selanne gets a break going into the All-Star game. And indeed, this year's NHL All-Star game is a new format. With the NHL players going to the Olympics in February, the NHL felt an international flavor would be of substance. Team North America versus Team World. The game takes place on January 18th, 1998 in Vancouver, BC at GM Place. Selanne garners his 5th straight selection. Now keep in mind there was no All-Star game in the lockout-shortened 1995 season. Joining him is fellow Duck Dmitry Mironov on Team World. But the day before, Selanne actually won the puck control relay at the skills competition. But let's look at the game itself. Indeed, this upcoming exhibition has fans in Vancouver excited, as a sellout crowd is on hand, ready to see the best in the league gather around for a nice little showcase. And just 53 seconds in, a giveaway that landed on the stick of Saku Koivu of the Habs. He sees his fellow Finn Selanne going in on goal, and he puts it home past Patrick Waugh of the Avalanche. And our hero has an All-Star Game goal, and Team World strikes very early. Then they made it 2-0 not long after, and then Slava Fatizov, the Soviet icon of the Detroit Red Wings, carries the puck out of the zone and sees the duo of the Finland boys, Lehtinen and Selanne, going in on goal. Lehtinen gets a piece of it from the pass, but Selanne has it and makes his way around Ray Bork and scores again. 2 goals, 4 minutes in. However, the goal was scored and play continued because it looked like it didn't go in according to some. Selanne actually celebrated the goal, signifying it. But once play stopped, they reviewed it, and the goal did count. The World now leads 3-0. Our hero is already putting on a show. North America, however, did come back to tie it for intermission. And then they took a 4-3 lead in the second period early on. And then the finish line is out there. Koivu gets put out to Lehtinen at the side of the net. He sees Selanne on the other side. Beautiful setup. He scores on Ed Belfour of the Dallas Stars. An all-star hat trick for Teemu Selanne. Beautiful play. And it's now tied 4-4, 7-11 into the second period. But that would be as good as it would get for Team World. They'd lose 8-7. However, oh, yes, indeed. Another accolade for our hero. The 1998 NHL All-Star Game Most Valuable Player MVP. What a performance he put on. The spotlight was on, and he was under it the whole time. But now it's back to business, and he can hope to put his team back on track and give us some momentum. Also give himself some momentum heading into the Olympic break. As the road to Nagano was officially underway, as it was back-to-back 3-point games to start. 2 goals and a helper and an 8-3 drubbing of Florida, named second star of that game. Then it was 3 assists and a stunning 4-3 win over the Colorado Avalanche in Denver, named third star of that game. Then he scored a goal in a tie with the Kings, a goal and a helper and a loss to the Sharks, and an assist against Calgary, which also didn't go very well. But then to begin February, in a game hosting sluggish Chicago, Selanne played an epic outing. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, and both goals were beauties. Solo efforts, which included the spectacular overtime winner, 4-3. He's named first star of the game, but something happened at this game that would cast a dark shadow over the Ducks' season. Chicago Blackhawks veteran defenseman and resident asshat, Gary Suter, nailed a blatant cross-check to the head of Paul Kariya. He suffered a major concussion. His season is over, and Selanne now has a much heavier load to carry the rest of this season. And he scored 2 goals again, plus an assist in on all 3 goals, and a 3-2 win over the struggling Rangers. His 40th and 41st of the year, his 3rd straight 40-goal season. First star of the game honors. Then 2 assists to 5-2 loss against the Kings. But this is a huge 8-game point streak between the All-Star Game and the Olympics, with 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points, around 2.4 points a game, and an excellent +8. Momentum is on his side. Can he carry it in to Nagano, Japan? And the first NHL-oriented Olympic tournament has arrived. While Finland's hockey program has evolved tremendously in the last decade, with NHL players here, they're not actually considered among the medal favorites. Selanne, however, does have Olympic experience, as he played very well in the 1992 tournament. The Finns did win their first Olympic silver in 1988 and won a bronze the last Olympic Games before this in 1994. Selanne has also played in the 96 World Championships and the World Cup of Hockey that same year and played very well. But he has never won a medal in international play. And he gets to play one last time this year with his hero, Jari Kurri, who's in the midst of his final NHL season as he's playing for the Colorado Avalanche. The Ducks are very well represented in this tournament. Dmitry Mironov plays for Russia, as does Mikhail Shalenkov, who will be the team's starting goaltender. Also, veteran Thomas Sandstrom plays for Sweden. Guy Hebert is on the U.S. roster, but is as a backup and will not see action, while Ruslan Sele represents Belarus. Kariya, of course, was named to Team Canada, but we know why he's gone. Finland's in Group C, however, with top powerhouses Russia and the Czech Republic and underdogs Kazakhstan. The tournament did not start well for Selanne and the Finns as they were shut out by Dominik Hasek and the Czech Republic 3-0. They only had 17 shots on goal. And then they faced Russia, led by Pavel Bure and Sergei Fedorov. The same line at the All-Star game, Selanne, Lettinen, and Koivu was wreaking havoc early on. Selanne assisted on a goal to each of them to take a stunning 2-0 lead. Then Selanne set up Lettinen for another one. Our hero had 3 assists in this one as they led 3-1. But would lose 4-3 and not able to pull off the upset. They did take the boots to lowly Kazakhstan 8-2. Selanne had a goal, 2 helpers for 3 points, a huge game. And in his last 2 games, had 6 points. But they go to the knockout round and are seeded to face a favorite Swedish team led by future Hall of Famers Peter Forsberg, Nicholas Lidstrom, Mats Sundin, and Daniel Alfredsson. It's scoreless at our 2 periods, and it's been a very defensive game, with neither team garnering too many shots. But then 4-12 into the third, our hero's former Jets teammate Teppo Numminen is working the puck near the blue line. He sends it to Selanne, in on goal. He scores a beauty on Tommy Salo, and the Finns lead 1-0. But it's still a tight game as the period moves forward. The Finns are trying hard to put it out of reach, and the Swedes are trying hard to stay in it. The Finns, however, go on a power play with 7:17 to play. Iiri to Saku to Teemu, his second goal of the game. Finland leads 2-0. Our hero is about to lead his team to a huge upset, but wait! Stop the presses. Forsberg scores with 12 seconds left for Sweden. Can the Finns hang on? The clock counts down, and Finland is going to the semifinals of the medal round. Selanne is the hero for his country in this huge game, a huge upset as they win it 2-1. And now to the semifinals where they face Russia again, but a 5-goal night, yes, from Pavel Bure. It's any gold medal hopes for Finland. They lose 7-4. Selanne did have a goal and an assist in the game. But wait, of course that means Finland still gets to play for the bronze against Canada. But Selanne is hurt and cannot play. However, he still inspired his team from the bench. Finland pulled off a shocking upset again, 3-2. They win against a team of 14 future Hall of Famers. Selanne, however, still earns his Olympic bronze medal, as they do not make it this far without him, especially in that huge performance against Sweden. A huge moment as the Finns were overjoyed. Also, this was the first Olympic medal for Jari Kurri, as well as in his 18-year career is about to come to a close. Selanne's Ducks teammate Mironov and Shalenkov actually come back to Anaheim with a silver. But in total, Selanne had 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points in 5 games, literally 2 points a game, and won the tournament scoring title alongside teammate Saku Koivu. And finally, gets a medal in international competition. But now it's back to Anaheim to see if he can get anything going for this club, but he misses 5 games to heal up. The Ducks lose all but one of them. And before he's set to return, the Ducks sit out a bad 20-32-9 for 49 points. They're literally 12th in the West. 9 points out of a playoff spot with 21 games to go. Only 1 point, however, on dead last Vancouver. Selanne returned on March 8th, hosting the Carolina Hurricanes at Tanaka. Well, 3-1 loss. He was pointless at a -2. He did score a nice solo effort against Rob Blake and the LA Kings, who have improved this year. The Ducks lost in overtime. He scored the lone goal in a 3-1 loss to the lowly Leafs. It was a -2 and pointless against Dallas. 2 goals, -4 in his first 4 games back. Not at all good. And the Ducks have now lost 7 in a row. They did, however, shock the Colorado Avalanche to snap the losing streak, 5-3. Selanne assisting on 3 goals and was named second star of the game, just behind Scott Young, who's been having a disappointing year but had a 3-point night. The Ducks now prepare for a 7-game road trip, and it did not start well. He was pointless in a 3-0 shutout loss to Gilmore, Anderchuk, Niedermeyer, Stevens, Brodeur, and a powerful Devils squad. He scored a goal against Leclerc, Hextall, and Flyers, a 3-3 tie. Then he played excellently in a 5-4 win over Recchi, Domfus, Andy Moog, and a decent Montreal Canadiens club, with 2 goals and a helper for 3 points and named first star. Then on March 22nd, 1998, they headed into the Corel Center in Ottawa to take on the no longer sucky Sens, who despite being 3 games under 500, were fighting for their second straight playoff spot. The talent is there, Russian superstar Alexei Yashin, Daniel Alfredsson, and in net, the tireless work of Ron Tugnut has gotten them the furthest. They have avoided Shalenkov to start the game as the Ducks are trying to hold on and not let anything in. But they still strike first close to 12 minutes in, but then they go on a power play and Aruchin controls the situation, gets the puck to Sean Pronger, back over to Teemu Selanne at the wing, he scores, and the Ducks lead 2-0 and are looking sharp early on as Selanne notches his 47th goal of the year. The Ducks led 3-1 after one, and in the second period were keeping their lead. As Stalenkov standing on his head, keeping his team in it. The period is counting down, however, after Stalenkov makes another save. The puck gets up to Jonfe, who goes in on goal with Selanne. He scored his second in the game. The Ducks go up 4-1. With 1:53 remaining in the second period, another biggie for our hero, and they take the 3-goal lead into intermission. Ottawa got one back in the early portion of the third period, but time is winding down. They pull Tugnutt, but Marshall clears the puck to Ruchin, and then Selanne launches it into the empty net. 1:33 to play. Yet another hat trick, giving the Ducks a big 5-2 win as he puts on yet another show. His third hat trick of the year, 14th of his career, 15 if you count playoffs. And Selanne was named second star of the game, actually, as Stalenkov did deserve it for his incredible 51 save performance. But once again, Selanne delivers the goods for a team that doesn't have all much that good about it this year. They continue the road trip to Chicago, who are hanging on for dear life for their playoff hopes. He scored a goal and assist in a 3-2 win, scoring the game winner with 15 seconds left, giving him 50 goals again this season. For the second straight time, the third time in his career, he has reached that mark. He was named first star. He had an assist in a 3-3 tie with Detroit, but then the trip ended in a loss in Denver against the Colorado Avalanche. He was pointless. The Ducks actually surprisingly went 3-2-2 on this stretch, and Selanne was sensational with 7 goals, 3 assists, and 10 points. The Ducks, with 9 games remaining heading into April, sit at 24, 38, and 11 at 59 points, still in 12th and still 9 points out of a playoff spot. It was clear Selanne's injuries were hampering him come April. Despite that awesome road trip, he only played 5 of the remaining 9 games. Then they suffered back-to-back losses against the Coyotes in a home-and-home series, Selanne getting an assist in the latter of which. He scored a goal in a 3-3 tie with the Flames and added an empty netter against Edmonton in a win. And then in a 5-2 loss to the Sharks, however, Selanne left the game early due to injury, and that was the end of his season. But it didn't matter, as the Ducks were now eliminated regardless. They finished up bad 26, 43, and 13 for 65 points and stayed in 12th place. Teemu Selanne finished the season with 52 goals, 34 assists, and 86 points in 73 games, missing 9 total. And yes, despite Paul Kariya just playing 22 games, he's still on this list. But Steve Ruchin still clicked very well with Selanne this year, setting him up 19 times for his goals. A total of 20 different players this year, however, set up Teemu for a goal. Together, he and Ruchin worked together to produce 29 goals. But you can see why Selanne's passing and setup game were taken away a fair bit this year, because more than a quarter of his assists were to Paul Kariya. 10! Yes, again, Kariya, just 22 games, and in those 22 games, they worked together to produce 20 goals. It's a sign of how important they are to the club. It's a sign of how great they both are and the magic that they can create. But a sign of what the media has also said often, I got to agree with them on this one, that they've relied way too much on these two to carry this team on their back completely. Selanne also did, however, have great chemistry with 2 defensemen this year, veteran journeyman J.J. Daigneault and Dmitry Mironov. So, of course, they were both traded, and they didn't get much in return for them. The Ducks are just a heaping mess. His 86 points was actually good enough for 8th best in the league, however, as indeed the dead puck era is showing its full effect overall. But one has to wonder with a healthy Kariya just what much more, easy for me to say, Selanne would get. Still, it's his 3rd straight season in the top 10 and 4th overall. And for the first time since his rookie season, Teemu Selanne is the leader in goal scoring this year with 52, sharing the title with Peter Bondra of the Washington Capitals. After falling just shy of the goal title a year prior, he gets it this year. Former teammate Keith Tkachuk, who beat him for that title last year, also still makes the top 10. If there was only an actual award to give out for this sort of accomplishment. And also, for the first time since his rookie year, Selanne leads the league in even strength goals with 41, 5 ahead of Bondra. It also is the 2nd best mark of his career in this category. Selanne proved to come up in the clutch several times again this year, the career-high 10-game winners, which was 3rd best in the league, just 1 behind Joe Nieuwendyk of the Dallas Stars, and 3 behind leader Peter Bondra. And for the 2nd straight year, Selanne was in the top 10 again for shooting percentage, good enough for 4th best in the league. Selanne's former Jets teammate Igor Korolev, now playing for the Leafs, was 10th. And hey, look at that. For the first time in his career, Selanne led the league in hat tricks with 3. Sharing the title with Pavel Bure and Keith Tkachuk. And lastly, he led the league in yet another category, this time offensive point shares for the first time with a 12.0 rating, as only his rookie year was better in his career with a 12.2. But either way, emphasizing his great year even further. And now, to awards season. For the first time in his career, Selanne finished as a finalist for the Hart Trophy as league MVP, coming in 3rd. Dominic Hasek did indeed dominate the voting, but Selanne was just 9 votes behind second-place Jaromir Jagr of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And he was a finalist for the Lady Byng Trophy, coming in 2nd again. This time to Ron Francis of the Penguins, who received just 60 more votes than our hero, and as he himself received 42 more votes than Wayne Gretzky in 3rd. But again, he didn't walk away empty-handed as he was named a second-team All-Star. This goes with his 2 first-team All-Star selections in his career, one being the year prior. He finished behind Jagr in first-team voting, but joins a great list here, including former teammate Tkachuk once again, and the last All-Star selection for Wayne Gretzky. Well, Selanne was the biggest show in town in what was a bad year for his team. He thrived with all his might despite the roadblocks. First in 4 categories: goals, even strength goals, offensive point shares, hat tricks, and top 10 in 3 others. His goals are a Ducks franchise record that as of 2025 has not been broken. First team All-Star, finalist for both the Hart Trophy as league MVP and the Lady Byng Trophy, that one for a 3rd straight year. He finished a +12, played in his 5th straight All-Star game, putting on a marvelous performance with a hat-trick and won the game's MVP. As the first European player to do so, did very well in the skills competition that weekend to boot. And he played in the 1998 Olympics, representing Finland, further proving his international savvy and walking away with a bronze medal. His infamous clutch performance over Sweden is still heavily remembered and revered in his home country in the medal round upset. And he led the tournament in scoring. Selanne is still among one of the best in the game, that's not to be disputed, but his team definitely needs a shakeup. As we ready for the 1998-99 season, Teemu Selanne is willing to put in the work game in and game out. That has been proven constantly throughout his career so far, despite injury issues. He's doing what he's paid to do, but he and Kariya staying healthy isn't going to cut it anymore for the Ducks if they want to succeed as a team and get further. Indeed, the organization made some big changes. Page, after 1 year as coach, was gone, thank God, and he was replaced with Craig Hartsburg, a once tremendous defenseman for the Stars back in the 1980s. His career was hampered and eventually cut short due to injuries. He became an assistant for his former team, then worked as one for the Flyers for 4 seasons, and he had a brief stint in the OHL juniors with the Guelph Storm, and returned to the pros and became head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks for 3 seasons, which he's just coming off. He's a great hockey mind, but can he work with this club? Also, the era of Ferreira is over. As the team's first and only general manager at this point, Jack Ferreira was demoted to a lesser role, and Pierre Gauthier, who assisted Ferreira in the team's inception and then went to Ottawa as GM and was key in making them into a playoff team, is now going to be running the Ducks. They also reobtained Freddie Olesen, which can only mean good news for Selanne and the team as well, who some indeed felt it was a big mistake trading in the first place. And great news, Paul Kariya is healthy and ready to go for this season. The league is also now realigned with the arrival of the expansion club, the Nashville Predators. The Leafs have moved to the Eastern Conference as a result. And now each conference has 3 divisions. The Ducks are in the Pacific with fellow state clubs the Sharks and Kings, as well as the Coyotes and the Stars. But can our hero keep up his tremendous momentum? Let's find out. It didn't start well at all. A 4-game road trip began with a 3-game losing streak where the Ducks were shut out twice. Last year, they were actually the most shutout team in the league. The only goal they scored was in a 4-1 loss to Philly, and Selanne assisted on it. But then against Chicago, Teemu led his team to begin a 6-game unbeaten streak. He scored his first 2 goals of the year and a helper for 3 points and was named first star in the 5-3 win over them. They were down 2-0 against the Coyotes when in the third. He scored a goal and then set up Ruchin for the tying goal with 4:38 left and got the tie. He was named third star of the game behind both goaltenders. He scored the empty netter to beat rookie Vinny LeCave, Wendell Clark, and the lowly Lightning. They tied the Dallas Stars, the very dominant Dallas Stars, but he had a goal and an assist, the goal coming with 11 seconds remaining, preserving the tie. And on Halloween, he scored the opening goal in what would be a 2-2 tie with the Blues. The Ducks were 3-0-3 in the stretch to end October. Selanne on this streak had 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points, an excellent +6 as the Ducks looked great heading into November. The streak, however, came to a halt with a loss against the Blues on November the 4th. Selanne did not play well, was a -2. He had an assist in a 2-2 tie with the Sharks, and assist on both goals in a 3-2 loss to two-time defending Cup champions Detroit. But then he scored a goal to break their winless skid as they beat new acquisition Ronnie Francis, that is, and the Carolina Hurricanes 5-4 in overtime. But he had a bruised foot and a strained thigh at this point that would cause him to miss the next 6 games. The Ducks actually managed to go 4-2-0 in that stretch. He returned as they began a 6-game road trip, just in time to go on a 3-game losing streak to end the month. He had an assist each in losses to Detroit and expansion Nashville, was pointless in a loss to the Canes. In the games he did play, it wasn't his best month. A goal, 5 assists, 6 points in 7 games, and a bad -6. But he was eager to get back on track as the Ducks traveled to Pittsburgh to face the Penguins. Even with the retirement of Mario Lemieux 2 years prior, and the departure of Ron Francis going into this season, the Pens are still a very powerful-looking bunch. They're still led by the great Jaromir Jagr, and talents such as Martin Straka and Alexei Kovalev up front. And on defense, they're led by Kevin Hatcher, and in goal, the great Tom Barrasso. And it's game time, but it does not take long as Selanne leads the play out of the zone, and Matt Cullen, who sets up Travis Green for the goal, and the Ducks strike first and lead 1-0, 3:11 into the game. A while later, however, the Ducks are on a power play. Ruchin sees Selanne, but our hero can't find an opening, so he finds an open Olsen at the point. He slaps it home, and the Ducks lead 2-0 just over 12 minutes in. The Pens did get one back to end the first, and 2 goals from Jagr late in the second, with the Ducks down 3-2 in the third period. But early on, the Ducks didn't waste time. On an early power play in the frame, Selanne reaches his man. He gets to Marty McInnes, who sets up Steve Ruchin. Selanne has his third apple of the game, and just like that, the Ducks have tied it 1:26 into the third period with lots of time left. Then just past the midway point, Selanne leads the attack. He's skidding in fast. Back to Cullen, who sets up Travis Green, and the Ducks have regained the lead 4-3, 10:47 into the third period. His 4th assist of the game. The Pens, however, would tie it just over a minute later, and indeed it ended in a 4-4 tie, but a great effort from our hero, seemingly shaking the cobwebs loose, easy for me to say, and named the game's 3rd star behind Straka and Jagr, the latter of whom also had a 4-point night. He would then have a rough outing in a loss against Chicago, then missed their win over the Sharks. Then it was a 6-game homestand, which he returned for. He had an assist in a 4-4 tie with the Canucks, assisted on a lone goal in a 1-0 win over the defending Eastern Conference champions, the Washington Capitals. Then 2 days later, had 2 goals in a 3-0 win over Luka Robitaille and a disappointing Kings squad. He was named 2nd star. And then he had 2 more goals and a helper in a 6-1 thrashing of Cliff Ronning in expansion Nashville, named 1st star in that one. Then he scored a goal in a 2-2 tie with the Isles. He then scored a goal in a 4-2 loss to a sluggish-looking Avalanche club. Either way, the Ducks are on a 7-game unbeaten streak, 6 of those games at home, and those were the ones our hero played in, and he's on a 6-game point streak as well. 6 goals, 3 assists for 9 points, and an even 0. The Ducks began a road trip for the holidays. Selanne was pointless in the next 2 games in a win over the Avs and a tie with Ottawa. He scored the lone goal in a 4-1 loss to Sundin Cujo and a re-energized Toronto Maple Leafs club. And now, Happy New Year as we head into 1999 as the Ducks continue their road trip into Buffalo to face an excellent-looking Sabres squad. Going into this game, Buffalo was 19-8-5, and they were led, of course, by their goaltending megastar, 4-time Vezina Trophy winner, 2-time back-to-back, that is, Dominik Hasek, who also won back-to-back Hart trophies as league MVP the prior 2 seasons. The team relies on their goalie and their defensive system primarily above all, but they have one of the best 2-way forwards in the game in Mike Pekka. They also have Miro Jotin to score the goals. Selanne hasn't scored too many goals in the Sabres in his career at all, actually. And on Hasek, he's only scored 2 thus far. And the Sabres struck first, nearly 2 minutes in on a power play marker. The Ducks, however, were fighting to get back in it, and QRPM. Selanne gets the puck out to his man Kariya, who sees Ruchin. He scores! The Ducks tie the game 7:24 into the first. Then 2:29 later, Selanne gets the puck. He sees Ruchin, who sends it back to Saleh. He scores, and the Ducks have a 2-1 lead as Selanne already has his 2nd assist of the game. The Sabres, however, would tie it, but Ruchin got the Ducks their lead back 1:08 later, and as the period is winding down, power play, Kariya to Olsen to Selanne. His first goal of the game, 3rd point already, with 1:06 to play in the first. How does he do it? Oh, the Ducks now lead 4-2 and take that lead in the first intermission. They took a 5-2 lead after, and nearly 3 minutes in, yes, Olesen sees his boys open. Number 9 to number 8. Selanne gets his second goal of the game and 4th point. The Ducks are just decimating the Sabres, and our hero is leading the way, but we're not quite done. As the Ducks go on, a power play. Freddie to Steve to Teemu Selanne. A hat trick, his 5th point of the game to boot. The fans in Buffalo are completely stunned. The fans watching and listening back in Anaheim are overjoyed, no doubt. The Ducks lead 7-2, and that's how it ended. What an emphatic win over a very good team. And yes, the surprise of literally no one. Teemu Selanne is named first star of the game. 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points, and a +4. Ruchin is named second star. He had 2 goals and a helper, while Olesen had 4 helpers and was named third star. Remember, Selanne had only scored 2 goals ever on Hasek in his career at this point. Before this night, he had 3 on this one. What a game for the Ducks, but they lose the next 2 to the Bruins and Predators 2-1 each. Selanne had a lone goal in the former. It was another homestand. This one 7 games. The Sabres, however, got their revenge. An overtime win. Selanne in on both goals, however, and notching a helper. He had 3 assists in a 4-1 win over the Coyotes and named second star. Then it was 2 goals and an assist and 3 points again in a 6-4 win over the Oilers. 8 points in 3 games. Give me a break. They lose back-to-back games against the Flames and Stars. He had an assist in the latter. Then he had another great game against the Penguins. 3 assists and a 5-3 win. The homestand ended, however, with a loss to the Devils, but Selanne getting another assist. So count it up on this one. 3 goals, 10 assists, 13 points in 7 games. Just one shy of 2 a game, and was a +3. The Ducks won a decent 3-3-1 on this run. They then had a 3-3 tie with Phoenix. Teemu was pointless, but now we head to the All-Star break. And indeed, for the 6th straight time, Teemu Selanne is named to the NHL All-Star Game to represent his country of Finland on Team World. The game took place on January 24th, 1999 in Tampa Bay. Paul Kariya is selected for the 3rd time representing North America this year. With the World down 4-1, Selanne did score a goal early in the second to cut the gap to 4-2, and it was a beauty. But the World would lose 8-6. Kariya also had a goal in this game as well. Returning from break, it was a home-and-home series with the Colorado Avalanche. They lost both. Selanne did play excellently in Anaheim, however, with a goal, 2 assists, in on all 3 in a 4-3 loss. He was second star of the game, but he had an assist in Denver in a terrible 6-2 loss. After ending the month with a shutout loss to the Oilers, Selanne and the Ducks sit at 17-22-9 for 43 points. It's not a very good record. However, this team indisputably looks better than last year, and good enough at this point for 7th place, sitting in a playoff position, 1 up on the Sharks. But obviously with many games left, they're definitely not out of the woods. But our hero, he's ready to turn it up a notch. He led his team to an excellent 4-game winning streak, and he was on fire. First, he notched an assist in a 3-0 shutout win over shitty Chicago. Then he delivered 3 apples in a 5-3 win over terrible Tampa. He was named 3rd star of that one. He then delivered 2 more assists in a 4-3 win over the Blues in St. Louis. Then 2 goals and an assist for 3 points in a 5-4 upset win over the Flyers. It was named 3rd star. 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points in those 4 games, just above 2 a game there. The win streak, however, came to an end with a 3-2 loss to dominant Dallas, but Selanne did notch a goal. They then won their next 2 road games against the Coyotes and the Kings, Selanne with a goal and an assist respectively in those games. He scored a goal in a bad 6-2 loss to the Oilers, but then followed that up with a pair of 2-goal games. First in a 6-3 loss to the Flames, then a 5-1 win over the Canucks. Named first star of that one. After scoring a goal in a 2-1 win over the Oilers, he decimated the Sharks in a home-and-home series. 7 points in 2 games. A goal and 2 assists for 3 in a 3-1 win at home. A goal and 3 assists for 4 points in a 4-1 win in San Jose. He was in on all 7 goals in both those games. And of course, back-to-back first-star selections. He began March with a goal each in wins over LA and Nashville. And yes, that brings Selanne's point streak to 15 games. And to boot, the Ducks have won 6 in a row. Remember, Selanne's personal best point streak is 17 games in his rookie season. And the fans in Anaheim are taking notice of this as well, as are the reporters and media who cover hockey. He kept the streak going in a 3-1 win over the Detroit Red Wings, assisting on a first-period goal to Marty McInnis on a power play. Can our hero match his career best point streak as the Ducks look for their 8th win in a row? They host McGillney and a messy Canucks team at home. And the crowd wants their team to keep winning, and they want their hero to keep a streak going. And indeed, with the Ducks leading 2-0 early in the second, 1:43 and on the power play, Freddie Tarucci to Selanne. And there it is, 17 straight games with the point, 15 goals, 14 assists for 29 points, and a +2, yet another remarkable stretch for the Finnish Flash. Selanne continues to wow fans in Anaheim and across the league with his brilliant play. The winning streak, however, came to an end. The Ducks had to settle for a 4-4 tie, but they're now unbeaten in 8. And during this stretch of games where Selanne got hot, they went 13-3-1. Wow. As at last the team as a whole was responding by his lead by example. It wasn't just him putting on a show anymore. He wanted to make the Ducks a winner. However, the streak did come to an end, as did their unbeaten ways. Back-to-back shutout losses to Dallas and Phoenix on the road, where they did skate to a 2-2 tie in Ottawa, but he was also pointless on that night. However, it was 2 goals and an assist in a win over the Kings, 4-2, named second star, and he would score a goal in a 5-2 loss at home to the Florida Panthers, but that goal was his 40th of the year. 4 straight years with 40 goals. On the other way, in the morning of March 26, 1999, the Ducks stood at 31-28-11 for 73 points, 4th place in the West. Wow! Unbelievable. The same point total that the Blues have in 5th. However, the Ducks have less losses, they equal wins. But they have a game that day, a biggie. And oh boy, it's against the best team in the league, the Dallas Stars. This team has been waiting in the wings, literally behind the Red Wings for the last 2 years as an elite club. Up front, they are led by the awesome Mike Modano, all-star Joe Nieuwendyk, pesky goal scorer Pat Verbeek, and their new acquisition this year, megastar right winger Brett Hull, who led the Blues after 10 years. Plus, their grinders are even among the best in the league with Guy Carbonell and Mike Keane. A defense led by team captain Darian Hatcher, Sergei Zubov, Daryl Sador, and grizzled veteran Craig Ludwig. And in goal, the Eagle, 2-time Vezina winner Eddie Belfour. They entered this game with a record of 45, 14, and 12 for 102 points. They have already clinched the playoffs, and they've already clinched their division. This is a tall order for our hero and his boys. Well, it's game time, and the Stars are looking like a well-oiled machine they've been all year early on. Led 1-0, 8:26 in the first period. The Ducks are pressing, but Belfour isn't even given an inch. However, the Ducks go on a power play. Selanne controls the puck, gets it back to Freddie Olsen, who sends it in front of Marty McInnis. With 32 seconds left in the frame, it's tied 1-1 at intermission. Then just 19 seconds into the second period, Kariya comes in with Selanne. He can't get the goal, but Matt Cullen does, and Selanne has his second helper of the game. And the Ducks stun the Stars quick in the second frame already and lead it 2-1. And then near the midway point of the period, number 9 has the puck. He's going in on goal with number 8. He passes it to him very nicely, and Selanne scores! A pure beauty. His 3rd point of the game, his first goal of it, 9:46 into the second, and the Ducks now lead 3-1. But then later on a power play, Olsen from the point gets to fellow Swede Sandstrom. Then Sweden goes across the border to Finland. Selanne scores again. Second goal, 4th point. The Stars are completely puzzled here as the Ducks lead at 4-1. Selanne showing how bad he wants his team to progress as they are dominating the dominant club of the league. And hey, they go on to win 5-1, a monster win, and Teemu Selanne, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, +3, monster game, and yes, first star gets a rousing ovation from the swimmers of the pond for his continuous work out there. But he would follow that with another epic game. Another 5-1 win, this time over the Flames. A goal, 2 assists, 3 points, second star, and 7 points in 2 games. Man alive. The Ducks would end March with a rough 7-1 loss to the Devils. Selanne assisting on the lone goal in that one, which would begin a 5-game road trip. He did, however, get his team going again as they would square off with Wayne Gretzky for the last time and notch 2 goals and a helper for 3 points in a 4-1 win over the Rangers in New York. For Star Honors, of course, and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim with this win officially punched their ticket to the postseason. Selanne notched an assist in a 2-2 comeback tie against the Islanders. They would lose the last 2 games of the road trip, however, a tight battle with the Wings, and Dallas would get their revenge. Selanne had an assist in each, but he's now reached 100 points this season. For the 4th time in his career, he has done so, and a 3rd time in 4 seasons. 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points on this road swing. In the last 5 games of the season, the Ducks would, they'd lose 3, win 1, and tie another. Selanne did have 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points, and a +2 in that stretch. Pointless against the Sharks, a goal against the Coyotes, an apple against the Blues, a goal and a helper against the Kings, and 2 helpers in a final game against the Sharks. The Ducks slipped down to 6th, and they finished the year 35 wins, 34 losses, 13 ties for 83 points, still a winning record in either way. This team has certainly exceeded many expectations as it's now playoff time. And oh boy, yes indeed, the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, the Detroit Red Wings, stand in the way of the Mighty Ducks. They were 3rd best in the West. They were the ones to eliminate the Ducks in their only playoff appearance. The Wings finished 43, 32, and 7 for 93 points and won their division. They're still coached by 8-time Stanley Cup champion winning coach Scotty Bowman. They still have one of the strongest and deepest lineups in the league. They scored the 3rd most goals in the league and keep up a decent 10th least, but down from recent years. Their power play was also decent, but down from recent years with 11th best. Their penalty kill was among the best still, 3rd in the league. But our hero and his Ducks, we have the number 1 power play. Yeah. But their record against the Wings this year is 1-3-0. Leading this Red Wings squad, 16-season veteran and fearless leader Steve Yzerman led his team in scoring with 29 goals, 45 assists for 74 points in 80 games, which may not sound like much total-wise, but keep in mind 2 things. 1, this is the dead puck era, and 2, Bowman's system had scoring pretty well spread out again this year. He was a +8. He just barely missed out on being a finalist for the Selke Trophy as league's top defensive forward, coming in 4th. And he also got 7 votes for the Hart Trophy as league MVP. Sergei Fedorov continues to be one of the most well-rounded forwards in the game. 26 goals, 36 assists for 62 points in 77 games, and a +9. And the man called Shanny. Brendan Shanahan led the Wings with 31 goals, added 27 assists for 58 points, was a +2, had 26 even strength goals, which was tied for 9th best in the league. Also in this forward core, completing it, you have Slava Kozlov and veteran Igor Larionov still contributing a great deal, and the infamous grinder line of Draper, Maltby, and McCarty delivering aces. Hard workers Thomas Holmstrom and Doug Brown lend a hand. In a new acquisition from the Tampa Bay Lightning, they acquired Wendell Clark, who reached 30 goals for the 6th time, and tied the league in the league lead in hat tricks with 3. Now to this insane blue line. Pure efficiency, master intelligence, flawless positioning. That is just some of the words to describe Swedish sensation Nicholas Lidstrom leading the way in what was a career year for him at this point. 14 goals, 43 assists for 57 points in 81 games, +14, 8th in total goals on ice for, 7th in defensive point shares, and a finalist for the Norris Trophy as top defenseman, coming in 2nd. He's also came in 2nd for the Lady Byng Trophy, voting a finalist there as well. And a first-team All-Star for the 2nd straight year. What an elite season for Mr. Lidstrom. Joining him, however, was 19-year veteran and pairing partner Larry Murphy, who also had a great year and got votes for the Norris. Veteran Nasty Man Al Samuelson was now a wing. And acquired from Chicago, 15-year veteran, 3-time Norris Trophy winner Chris Chelios joined the team later in the season. In net is Chris Osgood. This year he had a record of 34, 25, and 4. 4th best win total in the league. A solid 2.42 goals against average, a good .910 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. And after years of doubt, he proved to be a playoff goalie last season. But can Teemu and the Ducks pull off this big upset? Selanne entered the playoffs just for the 3rd time in his 7-season NHL career. Well, here we go. Game 1 at the Joan, it does not look good. 31 seconds into the 2nd period, the Wings took a 3-1 lead on Yzerman's 2nd goal of the game. But just 1:14 later, RPM strikes. Teemu to Steve to Paul for the goal. And the Ducks kept the gap to 3-2, and they trail 4-2, however, after 2. They're pressing hard, but just can't really get close. But finally, 13:03 into the third, RPM strikes again. Ruchin to Kariya to Selanne. And with under 7 minutes to play, the Ducks are still trailing in it, but they're in the game at least, 4-3. However, Yzerman completes his hat trick, and the Wings win 5-3 and take game 1. Selanne played very well here, however. Game 2 is, as they say, an unmitigated disaster. The Ducks actually trail 5-0 after 2 periods. Selanne does score in a third to break the shutout, but they lose 5-1. Now trail 2-0 in games, heading home. The fans, however, at the pond are still loud and proud as they have faith in their boys for Game 3. But the Wings silenced them just less than 2 minutes in. However, on a power play near the midway point of the period, Olsen over to Selanne, who sets up Marty McInnes, and the game is tied, and the Ducks then take a 2-1 lead after 1. But the Wings score 2 in the second, lead 3-2 after 2, and win 4-2. The Ducks are on the verge of being swept. The RPM line has shown up. McInnes is playing pretty well too, but where is everyone else? Olsen has played well here and there, but he's struggled a bit somewhat. Anyway, Game 4, they bombard Osgood, but he plays a banner game. Wings win it 3-0. And they sweep the series in 4 straight. Selanne again plays well. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, -1. But he and Kariya, again, along with maybe a couple others, are the only ones to really deliver here. This is not a team built to beat a playoff team built like this. The Wings, however, will go on to lose the next round to another strong playoff team, the Colorado Avalanche, in 6 games. Selanne's season, however, isn't quite over. He was off to the 1999 World Ice Hockey Championships in Norway. It's the first time he's played at the World since 1996. He is reunited with Olympic line mate from last year, Habs All-Star Saku Koivu. Finland had won a silver in 1998, and Selanne wants to get them back into the gold way of things for the first time since 1995. He has yet to win a medal at the Worlds. Matt Cullen was the only other Mighty Duck to play in the tournament, representing Team USA, but the Americans didn't have the best tournament. Selanne and the Finns, however, were just plain awesome. They breezed through the qualifying round down in Ukraine, Belarus, but had to settle for a tie with Russia. In the second round, they continued to fly. Selanne was dominant, edging out teammate Cullen, and the Americans dominating the Swiss and shocking Canada again like they did in the Olympics, 4-2. They stunned Sweden again in a 2-game series and then entered the gold medal games series, that is, against the Czechs, but would ultimately lose. Selanne and the Finns have to settle for a silver, but either way, he gets his first World Championship medal in his 3rd tournament. He was the second best scorer also in this tournament with 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points, and a +8. Just 5 points, however, behind Saku Koivu for the scoring title of the tournament. Quite an array of world-class talent here. Selanne was not only named to the tournament All-Star team, but he was also named MVP of the whole shebang. Well, back to the regular season, which was another beauty. 47 goals, 60 assists for 107 points in 75 games, missing just 7. And wow, the magic is off the charts more than ever with Paul Kariya and Teemu Selanne. Kariya makes a clean sweep in every category here. He set up Selanne for 22 of his goals, not far from half. Selanne in turn set up Kariya for 19 of the 39 Paul scored that year, just around half. The two collaborated for 16 assists, and in total, one way or another, they teamed up for 57 goals. Wow. That's more than a quarter of the overall goals the Ducks scored that year. Oh, and Selanne set up an assist game increased huge with Kariya being healthy all season. Actually, Kariya played all 82 games. But Steve Ruchin deserves a lot of credit and does not get enough. The two teamed up for 31 goals, and the return of Freddie Olsen proved to be very beneficial to Selanne as they teamed up for 33 goals. And hey, Selanne was clicking with a lot of other players this year, including Marty McInnes, who's proven to be an asset to the team on the power play, and on certain occasions also gelled with veteran Thomas Sandstrom and Matt Cullen. Selanne's 107 points puts him in second place in the NHL scoring race, which Jaromir Jagr actually ran away with this year. But either way, this ties his highest placement among leading scorers, which was back in 1996-97, where he also finished second. Either way, this is Selanne's 4th straight year in the top 10 and 5th overall in 7 seasons. Kariya finished just behind them in 3rd, as those two, along with Jagr, were the only 3 players in the NHL to reach 100 points in the 1998-99 season. And for the second straight time and third time in his career, Teemu Selanne led the league in goals. His 47 was above all else in the NHL. He finished 3 goals above the closest contenders, a 3-way tie with Jágr, Yashin, and Tony Amani of the Blackhawks, who had 44. He was actually the first time a player led the league in goals without scoring 50 in a full season, that is. We're not counting the lockout year of 95. And that was since 1969-70. But still remember, when I said there should be an award for this before, well, lo and behold, Teemu Selanne makes history again. He's the first ever recipient of the Rocket Richard Trophy, named after the Habs icon, who was actually the first to score 50 goals in a season, oddly enough. And this is awarded now going forward to the NHL's leading goal scorer. A huge honor for our hero. He also led the league in power play goals for the first time. He made the top 10 in his rookie year, but this comes just a year after he led the league in even strength goals, a category he's always in the midst of. As mentioned earlier, the Ducks' power play was the best in the league, and Olofsson and Kariya were a big part of that as well. Selanne commanded the lead in this category, however, by 6 goals over Alexei Yashin's 19. And that leads you to this, as the Ducks' awesome power play led to Selanne being on ice for 70 total of them, finishing second best in the league for power play goals on ice for, equaling his career best from 1995-96, the only other time he was in the top 10 in this category. He was 9 behind Kariya, who was first this year with 79, while Olofsson came in 4th with 65, and Marty McInnes, who played all but 6 games this year with the Ducks, was tied for 8th with 55. Well, that leads us to total goals on ice for a category he finished 6th in back in 1996-97. He's 5th this year with 139. Kariya was second in the league behind Jágr with 155. And lastly, offensive point shares, a category he led last year. He comes in second this season, just 0.3 of a point behind Jágr with an 11.6. This is his 4th straight year in the top 10 in that category and 5th time in his career. Kariya was 6th with a 9.1. But now it's time for award season. Well, indeed, he already took home the Richard Trophy, we know that. But for the 4th straight year, he's a finalist for the Lady Byng Trophy, coming in 3rd this season. Voting was so close. He was only 11 votes behind second place Nicholas Lidstrom and 46 behind winner Wayne Gretzky. And after being a finalist for the first time last year, Selanne came in 5th this season for Hart Trophy voting as league MVP with 111 votes. It's the 5th time in his career he has gotten votes for this award. But hey, for the 2nd straight year, he's a second-team All-Star, giving him his 3 straight overall team All-Star selections and 4 in his career. He joins another great group here as he's once again recognized as among the best in the NHL. Well, that's another epic year for our hero, winning the goal-scoring title for the 3rd time and being the first to receive the Richard Trophy for doing so. 2nd in points, 4th in assists, leader in power play goals, top 10 in 3 other categories. He also finished a plus 18, that's the 2nd best mark of his career. A 2nd-team All-Star, finalist again for the Lady Byng, 5th in Hart Trophy voting, wins a World Championship medal for the first time, achieving a bronze, named tournament MVP and All-Star, plays in his 6th All-Star game, leads the Ducks to their best power play ever, tops in the league, and to boot gets them back in the playoffs. He and Kariya are among 2 of the best in the league at what they do, and just creating pure magic on that ice once again. But the Ducks as a whole still need more. Probably a lot more still to be a complete team. Can they do it? Well, we'll find out in Part 5. And indeed, that does it for Part 4 of our look at the great career of Teemu Selanne. If you have other players to suggest us covering in the future, please do so in the comments. Also, like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'll see ya.